If people these days are kind of watching abundant lifestyles and putting a lot of value on things like that, is there actually real potential for danger psychologically by constantly having that benchmark within your head of what you're supposed to attain?
Without a doubt. So I kind of have a love-hate relationship with social media. I mean, I think there's a lot of great things about it, and I use it professionally. I'm not that active personally on it, but in my professional life, I'm quite active on social media. And there's a lot of benefits, there's a lot of good things that come from it. But I agree 100%. There definitely are some risks, and this is what what psychologists technically call social comparison. It's just pretty self-explanatory, but comparing yourself to other people or other people's lives that maybe, and often in that sort of circumstance, are unattainable. And what we forget is that for 99.9% of the history of humanity, that never happened. So the rich and poor, the haves and the have-nots, the royalty and the peasants, whatever you want to call it, barely interacted. They didn't, and so they never saw that. And so it wasn't really an issue. So the fact that it is an issue now, and the fact that so many of us struggle, it's not surprising that we struggle with it because it's such a new issue in terms of human. I mean, even if you think we're all so used to social media now, but I mean, Facebook's only, 15 years old or
less? I think
less than that.
Yeah.
Instagram's 10. That's nothing in the scheme of history.
We're all part of this grand experiment to which we did not consent, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. Well, we are consenting. It's just that we're not everyone's doing it consciously.
Yeah, I think
mindfully.
More broadly, we're not consenting.
Yeah. But you're right. It's a massive experiment. Yeah. And as I said, I think there's good and bad. But sorry, to come back to your question, there definitely are some risks. And for example, if I'm constantly looking at, I'll just say Instagram, but it could be any other, whatever medium you want. But if I'm constantly looking at people that are richer than me, as we talked about earlier, I'm going to feel poor all the time. If I look at people that are better looking at me, which isn't hard to do, I'm going to feel ugly all the time. Which goes to like body image, for example, for historically for women, but increasingly for men, is a massive problem. So if I'm looking at health and lifestyle influencers who have got six packs and biceps and everything, even if I exercise regularly and keep healthy, which I do, I'm never going to be at that level for a variety of reasons. So there is a risk, as I talked about earlier, with the unrealistic expectations, that if I follow the wrong sorts of pages, that I'm going to constantly feel miserable all the time, which isn't good, and it can actually be dangerous if I have a predisposition to depression, or in other contexts to anxiety. So for example, if if you're following certain pages that are constantly focusing on and Twitter tends to be worse for this, negative news, catastrophe, or whatever, that can cause significant anxiety. I mean, it doesn't even in me, and I don't have a significant anxiety disorder, but So particularly in recent days and weeks, Facebook's copped some criticism, justifiably so. I think that it's like they design it. It's like gambling. It's like drug addiction. It's designed, and in some ways I admire. I mean, it's incredibly impressive what they can do, but we do need to be very careful. And I suppose that's what I say. And I talk to parents a lot about this who are concerned about adolescent children, that we could rule it out of our lives. I mean, there are people that are totally off that, and that's fine. Good luck to them. But most of us don't necessarily want to do that. So unless you choose to completely opt out, which you can do, what we can do, and to come back to your bit earlier about this is an experiment, we can choose how we use it. So we can choose who we follow, or who we like. We can choose how much time we spend on it. We can take breaks if we need to. So this is what, for people like myself who don't want to completely opt out, what we can do is be a bit more mindful, or a bit more conscious in how we use it to minimise, if not totally eliminate, but to minimise those risks.
To check out the full interview, there'll be a link somewhere. I'm sure you'll figure it out. You're an adult, presumably.